So I got an email or a comment asking me, well, this question's been asked several times already. The question is how to get out of depression, how to cure depression. Because I used to be depressed, I used to be suicidal, but now I'm not anymore. I'm manic all the time. And the last time I was depressed, truly depressed, was years ago. I never remember. That's when I started reading books. Here's what I want to talk about. I said depression. Medication. If you want to go to a psychiatrist, that's fine. But I'm just gonna offer you what got me out of depression, the natty way. Okay. So when you're depressed, it's usually because you're feeling sorry for yourself. You're usually dealing on these problems in your mind, or your own problems, right? And what I found useful was to stop being so self-referential, to take my ego, myself, out of the equation. I think depression is sometimes a little bit egoistic. You run into a problem and you think that for some reason you, there's a mismatch between how the world is and how you are. And a lot of times this mismatch is caused by your ego and by your you think you should be better than what you are a lot of times. And what I realize is that let me just give you a very specific example. Brian Greene's book, The Fabric of the Cosmos. I recommended this book many times before, but if you haven't, check out this description box and I'll link you to Amazon. This book, man, that book really literally brought me out of depression. Now, I wasn't the only one who said this. Brian Greene even said it himself in an interview that he got a letter from Iraq saying soldiers were reading his book, and instead of the Bible, they're reading his book about the universe, about string theories, about relativity, about parallel universes, and then they realized that there's nothing to be afraid of, right? And what I found useful, from my own personal experience, was that when I was depressed, when I was reading that book, I was like, holy shit, my problem is nothing, right? I stepped out of my own misery, my own problem, and I was reading about the objective reality. I was understanding truths about the cosmos, and then I realized how pathetic my own problem is, and I realized how fascinating, how interesting everything else out there is compared to my own problem. I recommend reading nonfiction rather than fiction, because sometimes when you're fiction, you watch a movie, you sort of you can connect with the characters of the stories. You start feeling sorry for yourself again. At least with my experience is that you watch this movie and then you start crying. It's like, oh, I'm just like that. Fuck that, right? Pathetic, right? And then you don't want to identify with the betas in the fucking movies and the books. The Goethe, what's the guy's name? The Goethe character who fucking killed himself. You don't want to read that shit when you're depressed. You want to read objective scientific facts. I think that's the most useful, because it's cold, it's objective, but at the same time it's so fascinating. You know what I'm saying? It's just, so read about science, about physics, psychology. Psychology is helpful too. It helps you understand what your problem is, And evolutionary psychology really helped me. Richard Dawkins' books, Steven Pinker's, all those guys, Sam Harris, all those guys really, they're really comforting, that's how I cure my depression.